6 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I'd like to call the November 5th, 2025 regular meeting of the McKinleyville Community Services District Board of Directors to order. We'll begin with a roll call. Joey?
Director Bender,
Here.
President Beitman,
Here.
Director Couch is currently absent, Director Mayo,
Present.
and Director Orsini.
Present.
Thank you, Joey. Our next item on our agenda is our Pledge of Allegiance. And Dennis, would you lead us in that, please?
Please salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Our next item is addition or changes to the agenda. I have one that I would like to, I'd like to request, and there may be others. And that one is basically that we take item E3, approval of the MOU with MBTTA, remove it from the agenda, table it until an appropriate time in the future.
Through the board. Can I suggest that we wait until that item comes up and then have a discussion about your reasoning for that so that the
Okay.
board is informed about why you
I
would,
would-
are you okay with that?
I'm perfectly okay with that, but I want to put it out here now as a request for a change in the agenda.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm
Are there
fine
any,
with that.
are there any other additions or changes to the agenda?
We have no other additions or changes to the agenda.
Thank you, Pat. I'm not quite sure how to go with the next one, but it's basically the call for a motion to approve the agenda with the understanding that there will be a request to table item E3.
I'll move to approve the agenda.
Second.
Okay. May we have a roll call, please, Joe?
Director Bender,
Yes.
President Beitman,
Yes.
Director Mayo,
Aye.
Director Orsini.
Yes.
Next item is closed session. Do we have a closed session for it?
We have no closed session
Thank you.
items.
Public hearings. Public hearings are items of quasi judicial and legislative nature. Public comments relevant to these proceedings are invited. Have we a public hearing?
We have no public hearings tonight.
Thank you. Public, we'll move on to the next item then, which is public comment and written communications. Any person may address the board at this time upon any subject not identified on this agenda, but within the jurisdiction of the McKinleyville Community Service District. However, any matter that requires action will be referred to staff for a report of action at a subsequent committee or board meeting. As to matters on the agenda, an opportunity will be given to address the board when the matter is considered. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. Letters should be used for complex issues. Have we anyone wishing to make public comment? Yes, sir. Please identify yourself and make sure that the microphone is live.
Hello. Kyle Stone, current employee of McKinleyville Community Services District. Something I'd like to read from the staff of MCSD. To the McKinleyville Services District Board of Directors. This memo is from the MCSD staff, a letter for support. A letter of support for our general manager, Pat Kaspari. It has come to our attention that he was called in for a meeting last week with the board to talk about an issue or issues with his performance. While we are not privy to the context or intent of this meeting, we feel it necessary to voice our concern. Pat has shown himself to be a very dedicated, hands-on professional with the best interests of the district at heart. Whether it's checking in with managers of numerous infrastructure projects personally or working directly with trusted staff that he has empowered to make important decisions on the district's behalf, Pat keeps his fingers on the pulse of our operations. Mr. Kaspari gives his free time to see that projects such as the community forest development will satisfy the demands of our varied populace. He is among the first wave of responders when there is a heavy storm or other impactful event, providing direction only if needed and making himself available should added assistance be required. Likewise, the relationship he has built in our larger community served the district well when the potential for collaboration with other entities arises. As you're well aware, we feel that MCSD is at the forefront of our quality service to our customers due to the culture that has been built over the years. Pat has gone out of his way to bring the entire staff on a nearly monthly basis to build and maintain a sense of team by sharing relevant project updates during a shared luncheon. He has further promoted recognition of employees going above and beyond what is expected by reading the employee-created nominations during these get-togethers. Pat respects the opinions of others and will consider suggestions from staff concerning operations. He trusts his department heads to efficiently and effectively run their own operations, but receives reports to keep abreast of project progress to ensure guidance isn't required. In the end, we realize no one is perfect. While we realize no one is perfect, Pat has shown himself to be an insightful, more than capable leader for the district, and we are very happy to continue following his guidance now and on into the future. Thank you for your consideration, members of McKinleyville Community Services District.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much. And you have that in writing? Greatly appreciate that. If you would give that to Joey Blaine, we will make absolutely certain that your letter and the spirit that it conveys is included in the, shall we say, in the personnel record of Pat Kaspari. And I want to thank you very much, you and the others who work in this wonderful organization, for stepping forward at this point. So thank you very, very much.
Just out of curiosity, how many signatories were there on that letter? How many people signed the letter? Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? No. Okay. Do we have any other public comments? Anyone else from the public wishing to speak at this time? Okay. Our next item on our agenda is the consent calendar. It consists of 3 items. One of them is the approval of the draft minutes from the last meeting of the board. The second one is approval of the draft September 30th treasurer's report. And the third one is a report on the compliance with state double check valve law. Does anybody wish to make any comments on the consent calendar? If not, we will move forward to vote on all of these things together.
I'll move the consent calendar.
Second.
Okay. Joey, would you call the roll, please?
Director Bender,
Yes.
President Beitman,
Yes.
Director Mayo,
Aye.
Director Orsini.
Yes.
We'll move now to continue to new business. We have 4 items under continue to new business. The first item is to consider approval of a professional service agreement.
Excuse me, Chair.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Could we move item number 4 to the front? To give, so that Leslie, would that be okay, or do you want to wait until the last item? Okay,
Oh, well, could let you out of here earlier if you'd like to go.
okay, cool. You gonna hang out with us then? All right, right on. Never mind.
We'll be nice to you. Any other requests on this before we move into the items? Okay. The first item on the continue to new business is to consider approval of professional services agreement for Kennedy Jenks for design, permitting, and construction management for the Mad River Crossing Water Main Retrofit Project. Pat Kasperi, our general manager, will present that for us.
Thank you, President Beitman. On August 15th, 2025, the district received a hazard mitigation grant, which will be administered by the California Governor's Office of Emergency Services, or Cal-OES, to provide a redundant pipe from the district's source water provided by Humboldt Bay Municipal Water District under the Mad River. The initial obligation from FEMA or Cal-OES is for $1,017,175.44 in grant funding, with a $317,868.06 district match, for a total of, and I screwed this up, $1,335,043.50 to complete the phase 1 design and permitting for the project. The objective of the proposed project is to reduce the risk of loss of water services and associated wastewater and fire services to the district in the case of a large seismic or flood event. The project will construct a new seismically resilient secondary pipeline under the Mad River. The district currently receives all of their potable water from the Humboldt Bay Municipal Water District via a single 18-inch pipeline that goes under the Mad River. The installation of a new redundant seismically resilient high-density polyethylene pipeline under the river will greatly mitigate the risk to the MCSD's water supply. A request for qualifications was sent out on September 22nd, 2025 to seek a qualified consulting firm to provide the engineering design, CEQA, and other environmental permitting assistance and prepare construction bid documents for the project. The RFQ was emailed to several engineering firms, posted at the Eureka, Reading, and Sacramento Builders Exchange, noticed in the Mad River Union, and posted to the district's website. The statement of qualifications in response to the RFQ were due back on Monday, the October 27th. Kennedy Jenks was the only firm to submit an SOQ and was found to be responsive and responsible. The district has a long history of working with Kennedy Jenks, and district staff are confident they can perform the necessary services. The first phase of the grant consists of project management, grant management, topographic surveys, engineering design, special environmental studies to facilitate the NEPA CEQA process, the preparation of a CEQA document, preparation of other necessary permits with the California Department of Fish and Wildlife, State Water Resources Control Board, Army Corps of Engineers, and state lands, temporary construction easement identification and assistance, and geotechnical investigations, bid package prep, and construction document finalization. Phase 2 will then include bidding of the construction project, bid evaluation and recommendation, and any final permitting, as well as any final construction easement negotiation, construction oversight, and project and grant closeout. The original grant agreement had a project performance period ending on August 26, 2026, but district staff requested and was granted an extension to April 10th, 2027. However, it is still going to be a race to complete the engineering, permitting, and construction of the project by April 2027, and time is of the essence for this project. The fiscal year 25-26 capital improvement plan had $25,000 budgeted for this project for this fiscal year, with $2 million budgeted for fiscal year 26-27, $2 million for fiscal year 27-28, and $1 million for fiscal year 28-29. None of the project budget has been spent to date. District staff have requested the detailed scope, schedule, and budget from Kennedy Jenks to attach to the district's standard professional services contract. Kennedy Jenks had no objections to the district's standard contract. The CIP budget will, of course, have to be adjusted as part of the fiscal year 26-27 budgeting process, and the budgeted amounts moved forward in time. It is anticipated that the overall project cost will be approximately $5 million. The original grant application, which was submitted in 2019, with a $3 million cost estimate. The FEMA grant would then fund 75% or $2.25 million of the project, and the district would fund $2.75 million. However, it is possible that Cal OES FEMA would fund more of the construction costs if funding is available. When a detailed construction cost is completed by Kennedy Jenks as part of the phase 1 work, this will be submitted to Cal OES to see if there's any additional grant funding available. As stated above, a detailed scope schedule fee has been requested from Kennedy Jenks. Time is of the essence on this project, and district staff would like to have them begin work as soon as possible. The board can either approve moving forward with the contract as reviewed and executed by the general manager, and if the $250,000 budget as part of this fiscal year is exceeded, staff would bring back a budget amendment as part of the May revise. Or the board can wait until the scope schedule fee is obtained from Kennedy Jenks and review this at the December 3rd regularly scheduled board meeting and approve the completed contract. Excuse me. Staff recommends that the board review the information provided and authorize the general manager to execute a professional services agreement with Kennedy Jenks to perform engineering and permitting services for the MCSD Mad River Crossing Water Main Retrofit Project.
Okay, thank you. Point of clarification, if you don't mind, Pat. There are 2 points on here that I think are important for us to note. One is the absolute hard deadline of April 2027. If we miss that, my understanding, and you correct me if I'm wrong, if we miss that, we miss our grant funding opportunity.
Yeah, they will only fund up to the end of the project performance period. So any money we spent after that date, they wouldn't reimburse us for.
Okay. Second point, and again, point for clarification, you're asking that the board approve at this time or authorize the general manager to execute the professional services agreement with Kennedy Jenks. We do not have that particular agreement in hand. Am I correct on that?
It is not in your board packet, and I do not have their scope one. We're waiting for their scope, schedule, and fee.
But in interest of time, especially with the hard deadline of April 2027, you're requesting that the board give you authorization to pursue this matter, executing the contract with Kennedy Jenks, and we would presume at our next meeting reporting to the board the results of that work. Am I correct?
That is correct.
Okay. At this point, I'd like to call for a motion to approve yes, some comments. I'm sorry. I'm rushing ahead. Comments from board members?
I'm waiting for you.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go first.
Go for it.
Do you want to go? Yeah. So yeah, I would, it's kind of uncommon to approve without a scope of work and a rate schedule, to approve a contract of this size. I appreciate the fact that, you know, that we've got a hard deadline. Are you confident that you could get this worked out with Kennedy Jenks and have a scope of work and we could have a proper professional services agreement to vote on by the December meeting?
Yeah, we talking to Kennedy Jenks. They think they will have that pulled together by mid November.
Mid-November, so
Yeah.
you'd have enough time to go back and forth and bring that to the board?
Yeah, so if the board chooses, likely the worst case is we're gonna lose a couple weeks of waiting for board approval on the contract.
And I just wanted to reiterate though, the December meeting's plenty of time. If we get that back at the December meeting, that gives you enough time.
We would lose a couple weeks, but yeah.
I think my voice carries well, but whatever.
People on probably can't hear you.
Oh, I bet they can, but I will.
James is saying no.
Well, turn me up. Sorry. All right, I'll get up there. I just figured my voice carried. Sorry, you guys. I just wanted to be sure that, Pat, that you felt that gave you enough time.
Yeah, we would probably lose a couple weeks.
Okay.
But
Thanks.
that would be, I think, the worst case scenario.
Yeah, that would be my comment as well. I just wanted to make sure that it isn't especially critical, that 2 weeks.
I'll tell you come April 2027.
I guess you're right.
Yeah,
You don't want to take a chance now with your crystal ball and
no,
no. Yeah, I personally, I'd be much more comfortable approving, this, a scope of work in a fee schedule. As part of it, it's kind of uncommon to send a general manager out to negotiate a contract for the size without approval by the board, even though it is for, we'd only be spending $250,000 before the end of the fiscal year, most likely. But the contract that we'd be under with, or the agreement that we'd be under with Kennedy Jenks is for substantially more than that. So my wish is that we hold off and bring back bring back a contract, a professional services agreement with the scope of work and a fee schedule.
Do others understand that?
I understand. I understand.
Okay.
But I'm,
Okay, if you want to put that in the form of a motion,
Is
please?
it something that we have to, make an official motion or anything or?
Yeah, the motion
Yeah,
basically
the
would be to
president
table this
just,
until the December meeting.
Direct the general manager or so.
or we can just take no action and direct the general manager to bring us back
Yeah.
That's a,
Yeah, the scope and the fee schedule
Yeah.
for next month.
to authorize with your, with what the contract is and authorize you to proceed and to enter into an agreement with them. Is that enough clarification?
yeah, so you're tabling this item till the December
Yeah.
3rd, regularly scheduled.
Yeah, if the rest of the board's amicable with that.
Fine with me.
I'm good with
Okay.
it.
Dennis? All right. Do we want to do a roll call in terms of the approval of
I
this?
think you have to.
There's no motion, so,
Yeah,
Just direct
Okay,
it to be
so
so. I
at this
think,
point-
yeah.
Pat, have we been clear?
yep.
All right. Have you any other comment to make? To the board on this?
Yep, we'll bring it back in December.
All right. Staff wish to comment? Anybody in the public wish to comment on this issue? Okay. In that case, I don't know quite how to handle this, whether to call for a motion and a vote and say no, but at this point I have, I get a consensus from the board that we should not act and therefore move on to the next item on the agenda. And so I'll state that simply. Board has chosen not to act with the understanding that that means that our general manager will bring this back and it'll appear on the December board meeting.
I'd be more comfortable. I'd make a motion to table.
I would be more comfortable with that.
Okay, I move to table this item until the December meeting.
Yes.
Second.
Now he can take it.
Now, may we have a roll call on the
Director
motion?
Bender,
Yes.
President Beitman,
Yes,
Director Mayo,
Yes.
Director Orsini.
Yes.
okay. The motion to table has passed and we will expect this item to be moved forward to the December board meeting. Next item on the agenda is item E2. It's on page 71 in my binder. Is to consider approval of the Parks and Recreation Master Plan 2025 update. That's to be presented by Kirsten Messmer, Parks and Recreation Director. And before you make the presentation, Kirsten, I want to commend you and the people that have been working with you on this, on the quality of this presentation. It is absolutely fabulous. Thank you.
Thank you. The Parks and Recreation Master Plan serves as a guiding document for the development, management, and enhancement of parks, recreation facilities, and programs within the McKinleyville Community Services District. The plan provides both a vision and a practical framework for future planning. The 2025 update reflects current demographic data, trends in recreation, and feedback received through community engagement efforts. Public input was gathered through a Parks and Recreation survey, a public workshop, and several Parks and Recreation Committee or park meetings where the draft document was reviewed and refined. The update also includes revisions to project priorities, inventory information, long-term planning goals to ensure consistency with the district's strategic objectives and available resources. At their October 5th, 2025 meeting, the Park Committee reviewed the final draft of the Parks and Recreation Master Plan update or 2025 update, which is attachment 1, and voted to recommend that the Board of Directors approve the plan. Approval of the 2025 update will allow staff to use the document as a foundational planning tool to guide future decision-making, pursue grant funding opportunities, and ensure that the district continues to provide equitable and sustainable recreation services to the McKinleyville community. Staff recommends that the board review, discuss, take public comment, and approve the Parks and Recreation Master Plan 2025 update.
Thank you, Kirsten. I'll call for comments from members of the board. I'll start with you, Dennis. Have you comments on their plan? No? Greg?
Yeah, this was reviewed by the Park and Rec Committee?
Over
Scott-
months, yes.
Scotty, do you have anything that you want to put forth about this?
The only thing that I have to put forward is that I sat in on the majority of the discussion. Each meeting focused on one particular part of this master plan. And they really did their due diligence, page by page, sentence by sentence, word by word. And they got it exactly the way that they wanted it. I thought it was conducted in a very professional fashion with the fastidiousness that they brought to this document. It's an important thing. And I was impressed by the way it came about.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you. I've got a few things.
Go ahead.
So, so I'm going to assume there's asked on the table on page 103 of the board packet.
Mhm.
There's asterisks, and I'm going to assume that they're in the same place as the ones on page 90. So that footnote on 90 that maybe we could put that footnote at the bottom for the table. So that there's notations or a footnote for those asterisks. It's pretty minor.
Where do you have, I'm sorry,
Yes.
where do you have?
Yeah, we can get the.
Yeah, it's kind of minor. I picked it up, but it, and I know that there's a lot of people that like to play pickleball, and it seemed like that was resonated a lot with wanting more pickleball courts. Did we count, don't we do pickleball at the activity center? Was that counted in our inventory of pickleball facilities?
It is not, because they're not open 100% of the time, like the court will be at the park. The
Okay.
outdoor court will be, and then it's not pickleball courts 100% of the time.
But they will be, there won't be out there in the middle of the winter time, but they have a potential that they'll be in the activity center though, correct?
Yeah.
So I think it should be counted as a resource, the pickleball courts, yes?
Participate in drop-in.
Uh-huh.
I wouldn't count them as standing courts. They're only accessible when we run a program and we set them up. Does that make sense? Whereas like the pickleball court at the park is going to be accessible sunrise to sunset every day, just like the courts in Arcata are available sunrise to sunset every day.
Okay.
You don't have to register or sign up or pay to use them, if that makes sense.
And
So,
can I
Go ahead.
also go to the data in here comparing to similarly sized communities is some of those pieces that Leslie's touching on. So that would skew our data and say that we have more actual courts than we do compared. So and that's from NRPA,
okay.
which is the National Parks and Recreation.
Similarly, Arcata runs like drop-in, what's it called?
They have drop-in pickleball too,
Okay, but the not backgammon, what's the
badminton.
badminton? But they don't list badminton courts because it's a drop-in program and they're only available when it's set up and when people come in and pay to play.
So it's considered more of a program than it is a facility?
Mhm.
Okay. And would that be the same thing with our basketball courts across the way? In the activity center?
Yes and no. So the activity center gets to qualify as a gym because it is a basketball gym.
Courts.
If that makes sense. But we also count like the school courts and the school gyms and
Okay.
things like that in the count for McKinleyville.
Yeah, see, my thing is just to kind of take the heat off of us because I know that there's a big push. A lot of people want more pickleball courts and I don't think we're going to have the capacity to be able to serve the perceived demand. So I kind of thought that it might be easier for staff to be able to augment that by saying, well, 3 or 4 days a week, there's I don't know how many courts we have when we do drop in pickleball, but it's pretty substantial. I know I've gone in there and there's been a bunch of people in there utilizing it. So that was just kind of my thing is to kind of be this to reflect a little bit more real, reality wise about that. But if staff doesn't feel that that's proper, then.
How many people have in each center at one time?
3.
Yes, and that's what are there 4 people per court? Yeah. So that's 12. Yeah, it's 12 people. that we can.
Is it more available from our perspective to folks in the winter than in the summer? So it's the same kind of type of.
Yeah, it'll definitely be, the outdoor ones won't be as available as the indoor ones at one time, but yeah. Okay, I'm copacetic with that. And then I think the only other thing that I had was in the goals, it seems that we had talked about river access along our property, along the Fisher Ranch property and the Pelorisi property, the potential that at some point we would create river access along there. And we'd already had conversations with the Coastal Conservancy about putting in some sort of conservation easement and them paying us for that. And that seems to have fallen off the list. Was there a reason that we're not pursuing that anymore, or?
I blame the community forest taking up all of our resources and time.
Yeah, but we've got North Bank property in there and Hewitt Ranch in there, you know, I mean, those are a priority over the river access.
River access at the Mad River property below,
Yeah, the
Hewitt
North
or-
Bank, the North Bank property.
in North Bank property.
Yeah,
Yeah, we can't build any developed trails or anything in there.
Yeah.
We can't put any, I don't know, we haven't pursued adding, a boat launch facility or anything in there either.
it's never gonna happen.
Yeah.
We, I thought we found that out.
They asked you to change that. It's not
Gonna be a no-no from Fish and Wildlife a long time
changes
ago.
in their year to
Yeah.
year, So radical.
Yeah. I just would like, I don't want us to, just to fall off. The river access, to kind of tie in from the end of School Road down through Badawat, through our, our overlook there, around our property. And, trying to connect, interloop a trail. I think that would be a huge thing for our community. And I just would hate to see that kind of fall off the,
Same,
Yeah,
same
that-
here.
That hasn't fallen off our radar
Yeah.
and we are gonna need to get grant funding for that. Caltrout is pursuing grant funding. The Blue Lake Rancheria is
yeah.
actually looking at that as well.
Well, and plus it could be it could also be what's the word I'm looking for? If we were to sell the conservation easement to the coastal conservancy, that could actually be a source of revenue back to the sewer department. To put those trails in around the outside perimeter of our reclamation sites. So I just kind of would really hate to see that not be on the burner. But I completely appreciate that the community force is going to take the vast majority of our effort.
Even though we are likely to have that on a back burner, it still needs to be noted as for consideration. I think is what you're saying, Greg. And I have a question about our
One moment on that point. Are we calling for, a modification of this plan to include that, the river access as one of the goals?
I'd like us to have the discussion about it.
How would you like to see that happen?
we'll bring it back. You want to do it
Can I-
now?
Or we could, go ahead.
Can I jump in before we get there?
I
So-
don't know if it.
I would just like to kind of point out a little that, this is a document that we review every 5 years. It has been 6 years because of this transition in staffing. So it should have been done last year because the last one was in 2019. But it's going to come back around in 5 years. So I would like to also, not that I don't think it's not important and that we aren't just because it's not listed on here as the goal doesn't mean that if a grant opportunity worth applying for comes up, absolutely, we're going to go after it. But I'd also like to point out, like, this list for 5 years is very ambitious in and of itself. So I would like to, call out all what the goals are that are on here and take into consideration the length of time and staff capacity and availability of grants and all of that as well. Just
Yeah,
throw
and
that out.
the only reason why 5 years is a long time, and a bunch of the people in this room might not be here in 5 years. And also if there's availability of grant funding comes available, it would be very helpful if this document, we could point to it and say, this is, that this is part of our planning document to loop those trails in so that we can have river access. To also, it would give us another arrow in our quiver for being able to pursue that. But would,
Yeah, I guess one of my hesitations too is, as you pointed out, Greg, that is sewer property too. And this is a park master plan. So that's not park property. I don't know how that fits in. It just is another wrinkle in the consideration.
so is Hiller Park.
Well, yeah, but Hiller Park is developed as a park. Yeah, I don't know. And I guess the other thing I was going to mention is this is a survey of the community. Parks Department, Kirsten did a great job of surveying the what the community wanted as their goals and additions. And that went through the park. Doesn't mean that we can't change or add to it, but this does reflect the community's input.
Okay, yeah, if it's not. It's just something I'm willing to let it drop. It's not something that I can't live without. I just thought that if it was here and grant funding became available, or
Yeah,
the
and
Coastal Conservancy, we could point to something. This is something that we have a long-term plan
Yeah.
for.
that is.
Yeah, just because you have it on the list doesn't mean it's going to get worked on immediately either.
Yeah.
And just having stuff,
Yeah, Hewitt Ranch has been in this thing for 30
yeah.
years.
Yeah, and that's all. You never know how funding's gonna pop up or when, and so I agree with Greg on that issue, and I'm willing to not push it beyond our discussion here if in fact we have it on the tickler. And so, but I had a question somewhat similar to that up on the North Bank Road property. Can the public just, and I don't know, I'm just saying, is there any preclusion from the public to pull off there and drag a canoe down there or a kayak or something and use it? Do we have any kind of prescription, liabilities, et cetera, on that?
No, it's public property. They can.
Have you ever tried walking through there?
Yeah.
But yeah, times you can, times you can't.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was just a general,
Yeah, no, that's fine.
interest question.
I had one, are we finished? I have one. Yes.
The only comment that I have now after this is something that I saw in the goals and implementation strategies, is that one of the goals is to enhance offerings for seniors, and an implementation strategy is to pursue partnerships and collaboration with other agencies. The senior center is already here, and we already have a partnership, and we already collaborate. I'd be very open to doing more partnership and collaboration. District may have access to more resources than the senior center does, but we have the ability to implement them. So that's something else to
And you
think
got the
about.
contacts.
Oh, yeah, and we have our pipeline.
Contacts, not context, sorry.
Is that helpful, Kirsten?
Mhm.
Okay. Other thoughts?
Yeah, just one
Go
other
ahead,
thing.
please.
Yeah, I don't want any of my comments to be taken as critical. I think that the plan is thorough. It was well thought out, and I want to commend staff for aggregating all the information they got from from the community and putting it into this document. So thank you very much to staff.
Others? I have one that I'd like to mention, which is in looking at your existing level of service comparison table, And I went down there and sort of highlighted the ones where there was potentially a significant difference between the level of service offered in McKinleyville and that of the comparison communities. And I thought, well, okay, I saw basketball courts and baseball fields. Yeah. One that stuck out, and only because I received a letter from a member of the community on the issue, was the one of restrooms. And I did not see restrooms listed in the goals. And I'm not sure whether that's a moot point and we just move on, or whether that's something that is likely to be considered in the goals and implementation strategies.
Which, like, I guess I need a little bit more clarification on, are you wanting to see more us trying to get more restrooms, or what would the goal be?
Well, this is simply a 1 per 4,335 versus 1 per 2,579 comparison, which says if we are to measure our community against the small one similar size communities, would say, well, we probably need to have a couple more accessible restrooms, and that was just as I'm reading down through your data, and it's probably nitpicking it. And I just was, and as I say, this is triggered only because I received a letter on that subject. And
There wasn't in the, and I know that we get public comment and get calls at the office on different things. Off of the top of my head, restrooms were not highly talked about in anywhere as a need in the survey. So I think that probably also helped. And then also, as you guys are all well aware, the park that we're currently building right now is not going to have restrooms when it's completed because we can't afford them. And we're actively fundraising to try to be able to afford building the restrooms at the BMX park. So I understand absolutely that why we're low, because we can't even count the newest park that we're building isn't going to have restrooms. And the numbers are what they are.
okay. Great, go ahead.
Yeah, I could have swore, I don't know if it was in your discussion in the agenda item, or if it was in there, but I could have swore that you did have some discussion about issues with restrooms. I could swear there's something in here somewhere about that. But I don't remember where it was at. Probably, yeah, if we had a digital copy of it, we could probably find it a lot easier. But I do believe that there was something in here about that. But I think it was in the narrative.
At the time of the beginning of this discussion, we did identify we need restrooms, but we also identified that we didn't have the resources, but that as we develop the resources, restrooms were going to be high on the priority as addition. That's my best understanding.
Yeah, I can't remember where it was at. Anyway,
Yeah, Scott, please.
Okay, if my memory serves me correctly, and I'm pretty sure that it does, on the professional survey that we had taken prior to sizing up how we can do our Parks and Rec property assessment measure of this last time, accessibility to clean and serviceable restrooms ranked number 2 out of over 30 different questions asked. So that's just a general comment.
I apologize, guys, that I should know the answer to this, and I'll admit to my lack. At the new facility, when you're going to have people there, are they going to pay for providing porta potties?
Are you talking about BMX?
Yeah.
Or just the general
Yeah,
public?
well, the BMX, I'm sorry, yeah, at the BMX.
No, it's gonna be something that we probably will have to pay for, so.
Okay, so I relate a small part of this. I put on a bunch of activities at the rodeo ground all summer long. And so I provide the porta potties for some of the events, and then kind of like subcontractor groups, some of the independent gymkhana groups, et cetera. When they come in to do it, I make them get the porta potties for that event. So it's some kind of discussion revolved in that needs to, I think, be developed, because you can't have what, 200, 300, 500 people down there not have a damn toilet. It's just not a good deal.
So can I?
Go ahead, Greg.
It's on page 105. It's under overall residents express satisfaction with MCSD parks and recreation facilities and programs. Lack of satisfaction was most frequently reported for the following: in condition of park restrooms and early closures of restrooms at the parks is bullet number 4 on 105.
Right, middle of the
I thought I
page.
saw them or something.
Yeah, it's the middle of the page, 105. And I think the point here is we do not see that reflected in the goals and implementation strategy.
That is a fact.
So are you saying you want us to add it to the goals?
What I hear is comment that seems to add up to that it would be appropriate to add that to the goals and implementation strategy, given the level of importance and to the community and the common sense of which says when you have events with large numbers of people that need to have some kind of restroom facility.
It is an issue, and it's an issue that we're going to have to deal with. And the more utilized any of our facilities are, the more it's going to be an issue. So I don't know how to quite address it today, but it needs some address.
Yeah. And I think
Can I point out that it is actually listed under the BMX park and track goal that we can't afford the restrooms right now. So that is, it is at least one restroom is listed on the goals. If that helps.
Where are you, please, Kirsten?
On goals, page
108.
108, the second bullet point for the BMX park.
Just a second. Page 108, which is 29 of the plan.
What feedback related to this have we got from the BMX group? I mean, what kind of communication on that? It's a big issue, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. What we can't afford was between $300,000 and $400,000 to put in the restroom, 2 restrooms and a concession stand. So
Yeah,
that's what we're trying to fundraise.
I spend about $1,200 to $1,500 a summer for the porta potties, and that gets about half paid by some of the other groups. So I think we should consider that and negotiating with the group. They're pretty good at fundraising. They maybe and not this year, but last year I had Six Rivers donate them to me for the whole season. So that's a possibility too.
Yeah. And I know in the past that when we've done other grants, we've definitely put in for upgrading bathrooms. In other grants that we've done. So I don't know. I think it's always nice to be able to point back to a planning document when you're writing a grant and refer back to, but as as I said, when it came to the river access thing, I'm not going to ask to have this come back again and have it rewritten or have anything added to it.
Kristen, what would you like to have come from the board on this issue? Would you like to have something specific, a specific direction from the board, or is this conversation sufficient?
My recommendation is that you guys review, discuss, take public comment and approve it. So I would like to be done with it. I've been working on it for a year.
Yeah, I guess I would ask if you aren't ready to approve it as written, I would appreciate board direction of approve it with these edits, such as adding the Mad River property and another goal about additional restrooms. So we
Can I
make-
ask a question on that?
Mhm,
Pat? If the board so directs that, that's one thing, but if the board doesn't, absolutely direct that, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that in your thought process about what you're doing anyway?
Absolutely. We
Okay.
are actively fundraising for the restroom.
So
We
I
are
think it's not a
pursuing
necessary
grants as they come up.
change. Just my opinion, guys.
Well, what I'm hearing, and I think I'm hearing correctly and clearly, is please, 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 we have spent forever and ever and ever to construct this document. And we'd like to say that we've succeeded and we're done with the construction of it and onward, okay?
I just have one more thing.
Yeah, Karen.
Yeah, and I think that, and I very much appreciate the amount of time that you've had into this. And like I said, it's a great document. But maybe in the future that it comes to the board before you're asking for approval to give us a chance to have some buy-in on it and maybe some input on it, as opposed to just bringing it to us and wanting us to approve it without any.
Yeah, and with regard, I'll make one more comment. I probably shouldn't, but I'll make it anyway. With regard to providing restroom facilities, I work with Humboldt Redwood State Park, and they have a similar issue. They have some very popular usage areas, and throughout the park they have basically pit toilets set in, but one in particular is the tall trees. It's the big tree area, which is very, very popular. And their solution has been, quite frankly, to have portable toilets in there, and it seems to be working quite well. I don't know what the reasoning has been to not put in, permanent toilet facilities, but whether it's the seasonality of it or whatever, it could be.
Yeah, it could be a permit issue. And if Dennis is, if B&Bs are, a couple of grand for a whole summer, it take a long time to ring up a $400,000 porta potty bill to justify the expense of building restrooms. So
Any other discussion? Whatever.
So Jim,
Yeah, go ahead. Dennis.
subject to public comment, I would like to move to recommend approval of the Park and Recreation Master Plan for 2025 update.
As it isn't, as we have it here in front of us. Is that correct?
I can't hear you.
As it
Yes,
has been
yes,
presented.
yes, that's right, that's
Okay.
right.
That's-
Yeah.
so just as a point of clarification.
Yes.
Right.
so
I'll second.
Give a motion in a second. We've called,
What are you guys doing now?
Yeah.
well, you're on the Park and Rec Committee. I figured you might want to.
There could be a public comment. I don't know. We haven't
Yeah.
taken that yet. Nothing. Okay, Joe.
unless there are objections to do so, I'd like to have Joey, call for,
Public comment first.
yeah, public comment. Anybody from the public wish to comment on this? No. All right. I'd like to call for a roll call vote. Joey, please.
Director Bender,
Yes.
President Beitman,
Yes.
Director Couch,
Yes.
Director Mayo,
Aye.
Director Orsini.
Yes.
Approved. Thank you. All right. We move next to item E3, and as I said, at the time we were considering the agenda, I have reasons to request that we table this item and move it forward to a time when it would be more suitable. The reasoning for that is that I have been watching very closely the work of the TICS committee in developing trails plan and developing especially developing user input into the design of the master plan, the trails plan, and so on. And I've been very pleased with the process. The TICS committee has identified several user communities and has invited members of those user committees to come before the TICS subcommittee and present their thoughts, their concerns, and to do so in a way that would be constructive and positive. And I've seen that, I've seen the results of that so far as being very constructive and very positive. And I think the TICS committee, subcommittee needs to be commended for the care and the diligence with which they're carrying forth this, identifying the desires and needs of different user groups and making sure that the end product assures compatibility and the enjoyable use of the community forest by all members of the community. At the last meeting, the issue of trail design was brought up, and one of the speakers from the user group that was there said that the typical mountain trail design is not appropriate especially for equestrian use. And the reasons given was that mountain bikers like trails that are steep, narrow, have sharp turns, and are banked. And all of those qualities are dangerous to other users. And they especially cited the narrow trail and the short line of sight. And what I heard was not that, oh, this is a bad idea or whatever, but what I heard is that the process that's in place of having each user group be able to voice its concerns and then be able to work on those things and develop a plan that would accommodate the needs and concerns of all users and worked out in harmony and so on. I like that process. If we go ahead, and my concern is if we go ahead now, before that process is complete, before people have had the opportunity to really start working together to resolve the specific differences, number one, we're not respecting that process. And I think it's important that we do, especially the amount of effort that's going into it and the degree of cooperation that I see in the community. And what I get down to, what I'm getting to is this MOU calls for the specifications for trails to be based upon the mountain bike. Let's see, I'll go to the exact language. I have under section 9, under construction of trails. The trails will be constructed according to construction guidelines published by the International Mountain Biking Association. That would potentially set that to supersede the desires of the, as worked out in this process of achieving harmony among user groups. I don't say that it would, and I don't say that that there is a problem there, but I see this as basically premature. Let's let the process that's been put in place, and it seems to be working so well, work its way through to the point that we have the forum and we have the mechanism by which differences, if they should exist, between different user groups can be worked on and developed before we start setting contractual relationships with outside groups to build a trail system. And so what I would like to do is I would like to table this until such time as TIC's subcommittee has had an opportunity to review this MOU and any other MOUs in committee with input from the different user groups and can work it through rather than do it before that process takes place. And so there's my reasoning on it. And what I really would like to do is I'd like to call for tabling of this until such time as we have evidence that this and any other thing of this sort has been worked through in the process of the TIC subcommittee. So that's my pitch. Please go ahead, Greg. I'd like other comments, please.
So the MOU for the MBTTA is not mutually exclusive to design of other trails on the property, is it?
No, and it explicitly in section 9, it talks about trails that they are constructing
Yeah.
will be per that. So if they're not working on a trail, if somebody else is working on a multi-use trail.
And at this point in time, the staff is in the process of through the master plan for the community forest, working on designating this type of trail for this usage and this type of trail for this usage. Is that are we doing that right now?
The trails plan, yeah.
Yeah, in the trails plan.
Mm-hmm.
So if we were to approve this right now, it would only, this agreement is basically just to allow the MBTTA to work on trails that the district designates as trails for mountain biking, and that would be done through referring back to the trails master plan.
Correct.
Okay. May I respond to that, please, Greg?
Yeah, go ahead.
Number one, we don't have a trails master plan. It's in process. Okay. And number two, this, I read through this MOU and it does not place that constraint. I can't see that it places that constraint that the trails will be constructed in a fashion and a location that is consistent with a master plan. And that's principally my concern. So we don't have a master plan. We have a process in place by which we can build the master plan and by which we can resolve any differences between different user groups. The process is in place, but we don't have the results of that work.
So can I bring up another thing?
Sure.
We are already under MOU with these guys. The only thing this does is changes it so that, if I'm not mistaken, aren't we already under an MOU with these guys?
Yes.
Yes, attachment 1 is the current
Is the current-
MOU
is the
you
current
guys have
MOU, yeah.
approved.
So basically, we're already under an MOU with this organization. What this basically does is now that they're a 501c3, it allows them to invoice us for incidentals. What is it, up to $3,500 a year, something like that? That's basically the difference between this one and the original one, and they took a lot of the trail stewards verbiage out and put it in here. So whether we approve this one or not, they're still under an MOU with us.
We still have two others that, forgive me, I'm
Yeah, no,
cross-talking.
yeah.
I shouldn't do that.
No, that's fine. I'm done.
We have had criticism, those two MOUs that are in existence now were issued prematurely without having a context within which to evaluate them. And yes, they're there. Yes, they exist. This then adds a third.
Well, this would supersede the original one.
I don't see that. I don't see that in here that it supersedes.
So what,
They exist.
what timeframe were you thinking about, Jim, on putting this off to?
I watched the TICS committee and they basically, and I guess I gotta ask, I would call on James. I think they said a calendar, a timetable that they're talking about was like February or March of next year to have completed their
Trails master plan.
the user, this process of getting the user groups to make input and then be into the Trails Master Plan. So we're talking about maybe the first quarter or latest second quarter of next year. But James, would you comment on that, please?
That is correct, given that no other groups are added to come and talk to us.
What exactly do you mean by that? That's open-ended. Other groups could come in if they so apply.
Yeah, meaning there's talk about dirt borders wanting to come in and talk. There's talk about, the Frisbee golf, like, so if those groups aren't in the 4 groups that are already wanting to come and talk, there's a chance, there's squeak that there might be others that want to come and talk.
Gotcha.
And they might be combined together or separated.
So
So with that, if it stays the same, I guess what I was trying to say in a long-winded way, it should be done with their comment periods in March.
right. So may I? Some of these, no matter how it's developed, there's going to be some cross-pollination. That's just the way it's going to be, okay? The term multimodal trail use is the general term that, and no matter what groups we decide are going to have some kind of priority about trail structures, correct me if I'm wrong, but anybody in the public wants to go up there and use any of those trails can. They don't have to be a part of anything. They can just be a citizen. They can walk on the windy mountain bike trail if they want to. We're not going to be restricting that at all, are we?
You want a response to that? Go ahead.
I would like to say something. So coming from a fiscal standpoint and also speaking out of a little frustration listening to the conversations, firstly, I don't want to undervalue the amount of money that these organizations have saved the district, the amount of work that they've already done for us. Work that we would not be able to do. We do not have the financial capacity nor the manpower to get it done. Secondly, Director Beitman, I've heard you advocate for the equestrians on several occasions. There's been multiple conversations about them at multiple meetings. These organizations, the Mountain Bike Tribal Trail Alliance, they have come here, they have come to our committee meetings. they have very much spoken up and requested these MOUs to be established with the district. I've been at all the board meetings essentially since I've been here, and I have yet to see the equestrians present an MOU with the district. That's something that they have the power to do. They have an advocate for them on our board, which we all are responsible for encouraging them to come and speak for themselves and also establish those memorandums of understanding. I think we're open to that. This, as Director Orsini said, does not exclude them at all from developing a memorandum of understanding with us. So I just wanted to put my say out there because I've sat here and listened, and it's a little bit frustrating thinking about the time and manpower and financial amount of money that we're spending just even discussing the same thing over and over again. So thank you.
Yeah, I do want to chime in. We in fact have been working with the Redwood Endurance Riders Association on an MOU. And we've been going back and forth with them. And we are down to the agreed on by both parties MOU that was going to go to TIX at their December or November, actually, their November TIX meeting for approval by the TIX. I would say if you do not approve, and their MOU also says that they are going to use, and I cannot remember the name of that design manual, but it's an equestrian design manual, and they're going to use that to evaluate multi-use trails and trails that are intended for horseback riding. So I would say if you put this one on hold until, it sounds like your preference would be until the trails plan is completed, then we're going to have to put that one on hold as well until the trails plan is completed.
Sure.
Yeah, so some of that language comes out of something that's been worked on for 30 years, the National Trail Trust Council and the protocols for trails and multimodal use trails in state and national parks. So a lot of the concepts come from that and are very good. But I just, and I really appreciate all of these folks, and you're absolutely right. And so I want to honor them. One last concept though is if that young man over there wanted to go up and take a walk on any trail up there, not being a part of anything, we have an obligation to allow that. And if I decided to go up there with my horse trailer and unload my horse and ride around on the trails, not being a part of anything, I think we have an obligation to provide that as well. So those are just sidebars of the discussion. That's all.
President Beitman, if I may.
Please, Joe.
Just kind of a point of order. We've had a lot of discussion, but Parks and Recreation Director Messmer has not presented any of the staff note on the item that may give some context to this discussion. So I'm suggesting perhaps that may be helpful.
Please. Thank you, Joey.
Thank you. The Humboldt Skate Park Collective, HSC, a California nonprofit corporation, currently has an MOU in place with MCSD in collaboration with MBTTA, which is attachment 1. On July 14th of this year, Sean from MBTTA informed staff that they now have their own nonprofit status and requested the existing MOU be amended to reflect that change. And then additionally, they requested to include compensation for their trail work modeled after the language that's used in the Volunteer Trail Stewards MOU. At the August 18th meeting for the full committee, action item 13, consider separate Mountain Bike Tribal Trail Alliance MOU and request for funding was presented to the full committee. The committee voted to move forward with creating a separate MOU for MBTTA. However, no motion was made at that time regarding the funding request. Instead, the committee directed staff to bring the funding component into the forest management plan and funding/budget subcommittee for review. The funding or forest management plan and funding budget subcommittee reviewed the proposed MOU and funding request at their October 7th meeting. Following discussion and public comment, the subcommittee made a motion recommending without prejudice of funding that the full committee consider recommending board approval of the MBTTA MOU. So then at the October 21st meeting, which was my birthday, the full committee reviewed the draft MBTTA MOU and approved a motion to recommend that the board approve the MBTTA MOU with the updates made at that meeting. Sorry, the updates made by staff discussed during the MCFC meeting and agreed on by MBTTA. The revised version is attachment 2, which is the MBTTA MOU. As it has been kind of pointed out already, the fiscal impact of this, MBTTA has requested funding of up to $3,500 annually to support trail development efforts. If approved, this amount would be allocated from the McKinleyville Community Forest budget. And so staff recommendation is staff recommends the board review the information provided, take public comment, and recommend that the McKinleyville Community Services District Board approve the Mountain Bike Tribal Trail Alliance Memorandum of Understanding.
Okay. Thank you. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so just during the last McKinleyville Community Forest Committee meeting, we went over this. We had quite a lengthy conversation about this. We made several recommendations to this, and those recommendations, most of them that I could find that were incorporated in this. And so I, and with that being said, the Community Forest Committee approved this coming back to the board for us. But I have a question for staff.
Please.
If we were to hold off on this, are there any pitfalls thus holding off on this until we have the trail master plan done? Other than that, we probably, because they're still able to work out there, correct? On their existing MOU.
Right. Your point is that you made earlier, that we have an existing MOU. It just doesn't name Mountain Bike Tribal Trails Alliance. It names the Skate Park Collective, which is what they were operating under.
Yeah.
Still exists. And still has been executed and approved by this board. So they could work under that MOU. I think probably I'm sure they would be very disappointed that they thought that they went to the Forest Management Plan Subcommittee. They went to the TICs initially, which then
Punted it back to the
right. They punted it, went to the Forest Management Plan Subcommittee. They kind of punted to the full committee. The full committee approved it or recommended that it come to the board for approval. So it has gone through all those exercises, and now, I think that you would have people who would be disappointed that, or angry that.
And Pat, did they, this is just perception, did they go out of their way to do this nonprofit to be a better partner with us? Is that kind of the way that occurred?
Yeah, they were under the Humboldt Skate Park Collective in order so they could use their insurance, et cetera. But then they, established their 501(c) so they could be independent and have their own insurance and operate independently
and go after grant funding.
Right.
Kirsten?
One thing that might be worth considering too is MBTTA has gotten insurance and provided it to us, so they're ready to go. And I know that Humboldt Skate Park Collective would probably appreciate being able to remove one of the mini under their umbrella from their insurance. So it's basically getting like double paid right now. So. Yes.
Let me ask, if I may, Kirsten, I'm gonna ask you the most direct question I can. In the development, and I know Tix is working on it, I know that the Forest Management Committee is working on it. In the development of a master plan that considers the desires of the diverse user groups that we have, everything from bird watching and stargazing to downhill racing. I mean, we have a tremendous spectrum here. Does is the issuance of a legal agreement to an organization as part of one user group to move ahead with construction of trails before we have a master plan, before we have a discussion of how this interfaces with other user groups? Does it interfere with the development of a comprehensive plan that effectively, and a process that effectively accommodates the concerns and interests of all user groups? I'm saying user groups simply because that's the mechanism by which we have chosen to get a representation from the community. Does this moving ahead in any way interfere with the desired outcome, which is a harmonious master plan and so on? Or
So-
do you see it not in any way?
I think I think if I'm kind of getting at it, is your concern is that they're moving ahead, building new mountain bike trails.
That's right.
And so since we've had they did put in what they put in. And since then, only improvement on existing trails has happened because of the formation of the committees. And they got that permission prior to the committees even being a thing, because we wanted to have a safe route along Murray Road. So no new construction has happened. No new trails. There's been trails that have been proposed that we've told them no, they can't do because we don't have a trails plan. So no trails of any kind, horse, mountain bike, anything will be added in there that are not existing. So the work that they're doing and the work that we're doing is on those existing trails, existing logging roads. So no new anything has happened, and it will not happen until there is a trails plan.
All right, well, the words that you're saying are exactly the words that I've wanted to hear. And people say, well, you're advocating for equestrian interests. Perhaps yes, but I see this not as advocating for equestrian interests, but advocating for broad consideration of all interests, all user groups. And that they're somehow or they're effectively melded together as we develop the design and the process for allocating this precious resource among the members of our community. And what you're saying right now is that having an organization in there working and building is not, in your mind, in any way compromising the quality of the outcome that we're hoping to have, which is this wonderful, harmonious.
Correct. This is just, the MOU is just a mechanism for us having them to be out there helping us with trails. And like I said, no new trails are gonna be put in until the committees and ultimately probably you guys, when you approve the trails plan.
Okay.
Does that give you any?
Well, that takes care of the heartburn problem.
Okay.
Um,
So you want to go to public comment and I'll make a
yeah,
motion?
let's go to public comment. Public has thinned out pretty much on us here on this. All right, okay, I'll entertain a motion, please.
Yeah, I'd like to move per staff recommendation with the understanding that that there will be no new trail development until after the master plan is done.
I would
And
second
approve.
that.
And I think, and just anecdotally, they're probably not going to be up there working on trails. Anyway, with the way it's raining, they're probably going to be up there, but we want to keep them up there because I'm sure that with the runoff and stuff like that, they've got to go up there at points in time when we identify runoff areas that are going to cause dirty water. We need to have them to be able to get in there and mitigate runoff.
Area,
Didn't they help winter it last year as well?
Yes.
okay. Any further discussion? Kirsten, is this satisfactory to you?
If 3 of 5 of you say yes, then yes, I will be very happy.
You only need 3 of us.
All right. Joy, would you call? We had a motion and a second. Would you call?
Who gave the second?
Dennis. Oh, I did. I thought he did. I did.
Dennis was the
Thank you. I
second.
I
Okay.
missed that, but yes. Director Bender,
Yes.
President Beitman,
Yes,
Director Couch,
Yes.
Director Mayo,
Aye.
Director Orsini.
Yes.
oh, yeah. Yeah, just they answered the questions and that I think have to be answered.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, because it was easy to put that in the motion.
Okay. We have one more item on the agenda, which is the board retreat. And Leslie, you have, how do I say, patiently waited through the rest of this. So if you please. present-
Don't you wish you would have went first, Leslie?
You get-
No, I'm here supporting my coworkers.
Yeah, yes.
Okay. During the discussion of the 2025 board self-evaluation at the August 6, 2025 regular meeting, the board discussed their wishes to hold a board retreat. Staff discussed, identified, and has proposed the following choices for dates and times: Wednesday, December 10th, 8:30 to noon, or Thursday, December 11th, 8:30 to noon. Further, staff is seeking board direction for topics to assist in developing a lively, productive session. Potential topics identified by staff include strategizing for future annual MCSD MCMAC meetings, strategizing for current pending legislative matters affecting the district, review of the water leak adjustment policy, review and or restructuring of existing committees, board policy manual review, effective communication training. Those are just examples that you might choose from. Please note the board retreat special meeting will be noticed in accordance with the Brown Act requirements and as a special meeting and open to the public. So staff recommends the board review the information provided, discuss, take public comment, decide on a date, time, and topics for the board retreat special meeting.
I'll go first if somebody else doesn't.
Go ahead, Greg, please.
First thing I would like is us to change it from board retreat to board planning session. If everybody else is amicable with that. Instead of it being called a retreat, to be called a board planning session. Sounds like we'll actually be
Sounds good.
doing something besides running backwards. And then another question I had, so are you proposing that we have 2 4-hour or 2 3.5-hour sessions, or that we have
Well, it's one session. You have
one
to
session
choose.
on either one of those 2 days?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I think we're going to definitely have to really pare down what we're going to talk about. My opinion is that strategizing for future annual MCSD MCMAC meetings I think that could be handled at a regular board meeting.
Yeah.
I think strategizing for current pending legislative matters, that might be something worth talking about at a planning session. Review the water leak policy adjustment. I think that's another thing that I think we should handle at a regular meeting. Board policy manual review. Do we have any review restructure committees as staff? Is there something that we are having an issue with related to our committees that we have right now that
No, I just added it because it seems like there are a couple committees where there haven't been meetings for a while. So I thought it was just like a thing that you could do. You'd have time to
Yeah.
think about it and
yeah, or we could leave that for when the next chair comes in 2 months and
And we can have that discussion of what we want to remove then and.
yeah,
Yeah,
again,
open.
these were just,
ideas.
yeah.
Okay, so I'm just.
None of us are attached to them.
So basically I'm just weighing in on which ones I think would be relevant, which ones I think that we could handle during different things so that we can, since we're only going to have 4 hours or 3, whatever from 8:30 to 12 is. I think we should go to 1 o'clock so we could get some free lunch out of the district, but that's just me. I'm just joking. The board policy manual review, if is that something that is that something that that staff could be prepared to bring back to us with recommendations for things that they want to change? Because if we start spitballing on that, that's going to take the whole amount of time. So I'm kind of wanting to strike that one too. Effective communication training. Yeah, we could always do that. I think that another one, I think that maybe a discussion about the road diet in our strategies moving forward related to the road diet might be a good one for on there. But as I said, we don't have a lot of time in that amount of time. I propose that we did Wednesday and Thursday from 8:30 till 12, but I know that you guys are just waiting around for us and you don't have anything better to do during that period of time. So I also want to be cognizant of staff's ability to be able to take out away from and deal with us. Anyway, anything that we do, if it's not going to be measurable and something obtainable out of it, I would just assume we find something else to talk about that we can measure some sort of results and that it's something that is obtainable in a short period of time, or we just hold off and do it during a regular board meeting.
Can I ask, when you had your discussion on August 6th and it came up, the desire to have a planning meeting, what were you guys talking about that you wanted time to be able to plan for? Because this is on the agenda tonight because you all requested it.
Yeah, and I think, and like I said, there are things on here that I think are amicable. I kind of, the strategizing for current pending legislation matters affecting the district. I think that it could be not only legislative things, but just matters, local matters. I think that would be something that would definitely be good to talk about. You'd have to keep a tight rein on us because I believe that we could probably talk about that for the whole time. And I think that during a previous meeting, I think that that we, without spilling what we talked about during the closed session, I think that the road diet might be something that we could give staff some direction about and have a conversation about, if it's something that we want staff to pursue, or if we're just going to let that rot on the vine, so that staff knows whether or not they should be putting forth any effort related to, seeking out funding for studies and things like that. But I'm just one of five, so that I just gave you my thoughts, and I'll be quiet and listen to what everybody else has to say. Hopefully you guys have something to say. The only thing I'm firm on is that I want to change it from board retreat to board planning session.
Thanks, Greg. Others? Dennis?
Go ahead, gentlemen.
Well, I was gonna say, I don't know if I specifically would want to address the.
Your mic on? I can't
Oh.
hear a word you're saying, David.
No.
It is, can you hear me now?
Better.
Okay. So I would like to maybe, if we were going to discuss the road diet, to do it in the kind of the frame of the discussing the town center plan. So that we're not just picking on the thing that's running on the vine, but have it be part of an overall, just more of an overall plan, how we can respond to that. Because there are, some other issues in there that we will be dealing with.
Okay, thank you, David. Dennis?
Scott?
Scott?
You're right, Dennis.
Oh, I'll go a while. Go ahead.
Well, you go ahead and go. I don't have any comment.
Okay, good. So I concur with Director Orsini. I think I would like us to entertain a little bit longer time at the deal, maybe from morning, then a lunch break, and then a couple hours after or something on one day, if you want to do that, or it seems that the time is kind of always gets away from us, and there's things that we want to talk about. So I would like to consider that. I'm not sold on absolutely any position. I agree with future McMack stuff. We do that at a board meeting. Strategizing for current legislative matters. That's a good one. I want to include that. Review the water leak adjustment. We can do that in open session. I don't think that's a huge issue that has to be, batted around. I think we can just come to a consensus on that. Review restructuring committees, board policy manual, perhaps. An effective communication is always, always a good deal. I would like to have an item for potential litigation. And that could be relative to the road diet. And that's an issue I would like to ferret out a lot more. And Dave, if that is part of a holistic view that you see, I would be okay with that. But I think that's an important issue for us to delve with. And I want to pursue it more in a way that we can not be restrained on what we're asking or talking about. So we can come to some, clear consensus. And then, and I don't know where to add this, but I would like to have some discussion, some consensus we need to come to new that how board members can access the district attorney. Our policy right now is not good from my perspective. And it shouldn't be open-ended, but I think we need to have some policy to where a board member can call the board president or the general manager and say, hey, this is an issue. Can I have 30 minutes with the attorney? I don't know where that'll go, but I think that's a valuable thing to talk about. I think that kind of covers what I want to see in this process.
Thank you, Dennis. Comments from staff? The board convenes for an open, basically an open discussion planning meeting. What should, in terms of future vision, future direction coming from your board, what would you like to see the board work on?
Talking to staff. Oh, I'm sorry.
Any staff member?
Oh,
That
okay.
includes-
I couldn't hear.
That includes.
It's the board's decision. This board wanted to have this, and it's, I think, the board's decision. I would caution, if you're talking litigation, you're talking in an open board meeting, and it's gonna be discoverable by any lawyer or
Absolutely.
anything. So I would caution against doing that.
Yeah, that's a closed session topic.
Yeah,
Okay.
well,
Okay, I'm,
I appreciate that. And the road diet discussion is, can be bifurcated from that. I appreciate
yeah,
that.
well, that's,
And so I would be happy later date, because there's some time in this to perhaps ask us to do a closed session specifically on litigation. So,
okay.
yes.
I'm fishing for some guidance from our,
I can't hear you, Jim.
I'm fishing for some guidance from our, shall we say, capable and esteemed staff, was saying, hey, if you guys are going to get together and you're really going to sit down and talk about some things that are going to be important to the future, we'd like it if you would be thinking about talking about these issues, or this issue. What should be on our agenda?
Let's
I'm springing this on you. You didn't expect it, but it's,
Can I ask Leslie a question? I think this is the case, but in our last times, it was open-ended. Staff interacted with back and forth clearly with us in these processes, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes, but it was like agenda, it wasn't all staff, it was like the one several years ago that was department heads. And the
Mhm.
one we did a couple years ago was, I think just the general manager.
Yeah, but
And
those are
yes.
specifically about the strategic plan, weren't they?
No.
Yeah.
No, the first one wasn't. The first one you did, it was like relationship building and
Okay, but
and values, you created the board's values.
yeah.
Um,
Oh,
so
that's right. But that was part of the strategic plan is the values was part of,
not
yeah.
the first time, no, it was a desire to establish agreed upon values amongst the board. And then those got incorporated in the strategic plan later. And then it was revisited the last time we did the strategic plan.
But we have to make sure that this can't be too free flowing.
No, you
It's got-
you
we've gotta
do
be-
identify topics that you're going to talk about and then stick to those topics. So you can't have like an
'cause
open,
it's gonna be-
free flowing
Open session.
talk about whatever comes to mind in that moment.
I apologize. Let me ask a specific then. When the item that's strategizing for current pending legislative matters affecting the district, should that be a standalone? And then should we have a standalone item like Dave suggested for a holistic discussion on town center and road diet?
I would recommend that whatever legislative or local matters affecting the district you want to talk about are explicitly stated and agendized.
Okay. All right. So I think that's the way I would like to word that. Dave, correct me if you have any correction on that.
Can you restate the wording?
A holistic discussion on the town center and the road diet. Period.
Okay, thank you.
May I suggest that the road diet is only the one small, tiny facet of concerns over this town center development. We have others that are
Well, relative to the district, it might.
relative to the district. Incorporation is probably going to be the one that's going to have the largest single effect upon the operation of the district. Whether or not traffic is restricted on Central Avenue, I think will be inconsequential. Incorporation could change everything.
On that, we shall disagree.
Yeah, I know, we should disagree on that. But there are issues on the town center. And the one that I think is going to be of the greatest concern to the district is going to be incorporation.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with.
Yeah, Jim, and listen, incorporation,
Okay, it's the McMack agenda, okay,
well, I'm just saying
which includes
the incorporation issue is something we'll probably bring
Okay.
up next year or the year after that.
Okay.
Because it's not,
All right, all right.
it's
all right.
not.
I'm
for
gonna,
prime
I'm gonna,
time
I'm gonna
right
stop.
now Anyway.
Yes, we do need some specific items that those of us agree are worth our spending time in an open discussion.
But Jim, let me apologize for the back and forth. If that's an issue that you want on there, I certainly support
Yeah,
that
it's-
as an issue for
yeah,
us to
it's-
discuss.
No.
Can I, as you're thinking of your topics, so for example, holistic discussion on town center plan and road diet, what would your desired outcome from that conversation be? Like, what is the deliverable you want to leave the planning session with? Does that make sense? Like whether that be like a mutual understanding amongst the board,
Yes,
next steps for the board or the district?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, my intent would be so that staff has a clear direction from the board related to how we want to move forward with the reaction or actions as they pertain to the town center and the road diet.
Clearly, say that again, please. Clearly.
I can't remember what I just said. That staff has clear direction.
Okay, thank you.
I think that's what I said.
That was the word I couldn't remember. Okay.
Another thing too that I also want to, through the chair.
Go ahead.
Another thing too that I want to make sure is, we've got, a little over a month for you guys to get this prepared. So, we need to keep that in mind too, that I just want to make sure that that the amount of time that we have, plus the amount of time it's going to take staff to prepare so that we've got material to discuss during this too is going to be important, or it's going to be necessary. So make sure that as we're having this discussion tonight, that if this seems like that we're making too much work, or that there's no way that you're going to be able to put forth the effort that you think is necessary to get this accomplished in that amount of time, please speak freely.
Okay.
And so it's been pretty clear from Director Orsini and myself about time. I haven't heard anything from the other three of you on how long you want this to be. Do you want it 2 days? Do you want it 1 day brief? Do you want it part of the day at lunch and then a few hours more? I'd like your feedback on that.
Scott.
Well, first off, I think it should just be 1 day because it's going to be a 1 day subject. You guys are probably going to go town center and road diet. If as much as you can legally. So I think that day 30 to 12 is good enough unless we can find something different to talk about.
Well, Did you, I guess we haven't decided on the bullets, Scott, or Director Bender. We have a bullet of strategizing for current pending legislative matters affecting the district. That's one item. Board policy manual review is still on the board, it looks like to me. Effective communication and training is on the deal. Road diet, town center is another item. And then I don't know whether y'all, the deal about board members' access to district attorney could be something we could talk about in an open board meeting, I guess.
Well, this will be an open meeting. It's just gonna be a planning session.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying.
You deferred that to another.
Yeah. We could do that. So there's 4 pretty heady issues, in my opinion, that probably gonna take more than 4 hours. So
And- Yeah,
I'd like to see us do it for 4 hours, have lunch, and then a couple hours after lunch. But that's just my,
Well, I think definitely I'd be on the side of having the effective communication training first and foremost, given how we're going back and forth right now.
well, you mean two of us,
We can't
two of
decide.
us having, two of us doing all the talking and the other 3 just sitting here listening? Is that kind of,
Oh, kind of.
okay.
Okay, so
buzzer chip in your ear.
can I herd the kittens real quick? Okay, so I'm hearing you want at least 6 hours.
I'm thinking, yes.
Okay. Is anyone opposed to doing planning for 6 hours in one day, or would you like to split it over 2 days? You just thumbs up, thumbs down, real quick.
I'd rather go it one day.
Yeah, one day.
Okay. 6 hours, one day. And if you get done, we can hold the space for 6 hours. And if you are super efficient and excellent communicators, you might be done quick.
And if our facilitator is efficient too.
Well, I know I'm good at my
And
job,
keeps-
but
And keeps the cats in line.
The last
Yeah.
one we had at the activity center, we were out 2 hours early.
see, it can be done.
There you go.
Can be done.
Okay, so that being said, 6 hours, do you have a preference for date? December 10th or December 11th? Do you all need to check your calendars?
If we do it on Thursday, I would only be able to stay until 12.
And I teach computers in the senior center on Thursday mornings.
Sounds like Wednesday is,
Yeah, yeah, if we want to do,
Thursday
if
doesn't
we want
work
to
if
do.
two of you can't make
If we
it.
want to, if we want to do it in, if we want to do it in one day, Wednesday would be better for me. If we want to do it in 2, in the morning on Wednesday and Thursday, that would work for me too.
Wednesday the 10th is fine for me.
Like
Director Couch,
Heather is fine.
Director Brightman.
Wednesday is, either day is okay for me.
Okay, I'm gonna say Wednesday then. From 8:30 to 2 or 2:30, I can't count.
With a 15-minute lunch.
Yeah. We can work and eat at the same time. Okay.
Fine.
So that's decided.
Question for you, Leslie. Will you facilitate this for us?
Yes.
Okay.
I think we have a public comment.
Quick,
We have,
quick comment.
yes,
When I went to the meeting a couple years ago now, about the grants that the state is giving to communities for developing different projects. One of the things that came up was that several of the communities within Humboldt County have a full-time permanent grant writer on their staff. And I've heard several comments along the lines here, we'll do that with a grant, we'll do this with a grant, we'll do this to grant. So what I think you should think about is maybe finding some way to staff a full-time.
We have a grant writer on staff.
But thank you.
thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Great idea.
Okay.
Leslie, I'm gonna turn this. I want you to manage this discussion because you're the one who's going to be facilitating, and I appreciate the way you've laid this out, say. What else do we need to do?
Well, I'm gonna repeat back what I think I heard. I think for the time frame, you've got the effective communication training, which we could easily, like we can just do a short, maybe 45 minutes to an hour. And then also local and legislative matters affecting the district. And then a holistic discussion on the town center plan and the road diet. I think those three things, there's ample for that time. And so if you are all amenable, that's what I would prepare.
Okay.
To facilitate.
And do we also want Leslie to lay out some goals for us to accomplish during that time, or?
Well, I think, so that's why I asked the question about the whole town center discussion. What's your desired outcome? So you want to leave there with clear, agreed upon direction to district staff for next steps.
Yes.
Good. So they'll have the
Is-
same question for local and legislative matters that are affecting the district. A, I'm going to have to find out from you what those matters are specifically, or from Pat.
We can do some of that, Leslie, but that's a real moving target
Yeah.
too. And so part of that is feedback back to us in that discussion, because
Okay.
not only does Pat, but Joey, and I'm sure you interact on legislative issues all the time, but then when we're out doing that, we've got to know clearly what you have put in the mix, so that.
I hear you.
So we're all saying the same thing.
All right.
And how about this, Dennis? Now that Prop 50 is passed, what are going to be the consequences or the ramifications of that as it relates to McKinleyville Community Services District? Because we're going to be impacted by that.
Okay, so staff will review current local and legislative matters that may affect the district and bring them to you, and then you can discuss and prioritize what's most important for staff to be thinking about and working on. Okay.
Yeah, because we're dead in the middle of the elephant. So our district is going to change now with Prop 50 being approved.
Okay. Okay, so for that, I would have your outcomes being to inform the board and also get prioritization direction from the board.
Yes.
Okay, so I think we have deliverables or desired outcomes established, the topics established, and the timing established. Now you just have to vote to approve. You're going to have a special planning meeting on December 10th from 8:30 to 3 p.m. You're going to cover communication training during that time. You're going to learn and prioritize local and legislative matters affecting the district. And you are going to have a discussion on the town center plan and the road diet to come to a mutual understanding amongst the board and clearly define direction to staff for forward steps.
Yeah, I'll make that as motion.
I will second that.
But that's pending any discussion within public comment.
Any further discussion from board members, from staff, from the public? Okay, let's call for the vote on the motion, if you would. Joey, give us a roll call vote. Leslie has the motion, I think, well written out, so please.
Director Bender,
Yes.
President Beitman,
Yes.
Director Couch. Yes. Director Mayo,
Aye.
Director Orsini.
Yes.
Thank you. Last item on our agenda is staff reports, including a report from
Nope, it's not reports. We're doing
Active committee.
active committee reports. I'm sorry. Boy, I'm looking at the clock and pushing ahead. Where's the list?
Here.
Yeah, page 3. Hang on.
Yeah. Stuff on page 2.
Yeah. That one, Parks and Recreation Committee, Bender and Beitman. I did not attend, did you?
I attended and I have nothing further to add.
Yeah. McKinleyville Area Fund.
Did not meet. We only meet once a year. We're one of those boards.
Redwood Region Economic Development Commission. I did not attend. Dennis, did you attend that? Yeah, okay.
Yes, I did. So, big item, which last month I couldn't pull out of my brain was, the JPIA is the legal issue that they're working on. Getting the new language worked out and how to,
Well, they're gonna structure JPIA for REDA?
well, they're part of the JPIA.
Oh, that's right, they already
Yeah.
are JPIA.
So, legal stuff on that. They've been working on that, and they had to get a different attorney because the attorney had a conflict because he represents a whole bunch of the JPIAs anyway. So that was good still. They had a program from Amanda Hickey, who some of you may know. She's from Redwood Region Rise, and they are investing in regional economic resiliency programs.
So that's still going on, nice.
Yeah, they gave out $9 million for projects this year. I want to just mention two of them, which are near to my heart. There is a virtual livestock fencing. And it's a really amazing. There's several iterations of this around the country where they can do this fencing in real rough areas, and they can use drones to keep an eye on things, and they can move the cattle or different livestock into grids, move them around so that vegetation stays really good. Any really cool deal, and I appreciate that being in livestock interest. And then a special emphasis on sheep grazing. And sheep were a mainstay in Humboldt County for most of our existence. We still have sheep, but not like we used to. And getting sheep integrated back into our environments is really a healthy thing. Plus, something that I personally have worked on for a long time is getting hemp back into production as hemp for clothing and materials, getting wool back into use, getting cotton back into use, getting flax back into use, and limiting polyesters, which is one of the big microplastic nightmares for our environment. So that's all really cool stuff to me, and I appreciate that. And RISE is working on that a lot. I brought up
virtual fencing.
Yeah, it's a real trip, man. And so she wanted to know are things that regionally we need, and I always pitch this: we need a slaughterhouse, not a meat processing plant, but a slaughterhouse. The whole region, it's had such an negative effect on our livestock and farming communities, not having a slaughterhouse.
And the tallow works too.
Well, that's what it is. It's an abattoir. So anyway, that's the news from REDAC.
Oh, good. Thank you, Dennis. What's next after that is the senior center. Scott?
Be me, Killing Mill Senior Center. They're Monday through Friday, 9 to 4, sharing and caring as always. November and December are generally pretty busy for us. There's a lot of our senior community who doesn't have any family left. They've all moved off or they've all died. We have a lot of single residents that live alone. So they come down to the senior center and hang out just for support, just for a little bit of connection. And that happens more between November and January. And so these are 3 big months. Today, we hosted Dr. Gina Belton, who's a palliative psychologist from Arcata, and had another death cafe. We had a group of between 40 and 45 people in here, kind of overflow seating for that. And so everybody, got a lot of benefit out of that. And we're planning on having another session with Dr. Belton community conversation on grief. Going to have a grief workshop or a grief cafe in the same format as we did the one today. In January. In February, we'll have another death cafe again. These are ongoing series. Going forward on Saturday, we're going to be having our Christmas in November event. Our participants are, a lot of them are yard sailors, and they go out every week and they hit estates and everything. And they've donated quite a bit of Christmas stuff to us, and a lot of it's really old stuff. And we know the Christmas stuff's going to be in kind of short supply, and if you can find it, it's going to be pretty expensive. So we're gonna, have a little Christmas store this Saturday in our room, and we invite the public to come out and join us for tea and coffee and cookies, and see what we've got, and come down and meet us. And I'll have an outreach table set up. Of course, it's a great time to tell people what we do, show them how we do things, how they can be a part of as a participant and as a volunteer, and just be there for people. And hopefully, with Rotary's blessing, we'll be able to put on another luncheon for our seniors this year. So that's all we got going.
We have a lot going on. We appreciate it. Audit and Finance Committee.
Audit Finance Committee?
We didn't meet, did we?
No meeting. We didn't meet. Did we meet? We didn't meet.
We did not meet. Employee negotiations.
Did not meet.
Did not meet, okay. McMac, McKinleyville Municipal Advisory Committee.
We all met.
Well, do I really need to report out on it? We were all here.
They're all here, yeah.
Yeah, I just have one statement about that. While I really loved or not loved, I appreciated the speakers that we had. I think that when I actually brought that up originally, it was to be more related to, and it would have been nice if we could have gotten the fire department there and had a discussion about our ability to be able to, because we talked about the structure of ICS and all that, and how CERT works with all that. But I kind of wanted a more broader sort of what would happen if we had an earthquake, or, because regardless of whether we have an earthquake or whether we have a wildfire, there's going to be fire involved. And if there's fire involved, our operations department is going to be integral in making sure that we have the ability to be able to supply fire flow and the fire department and that. So I kind of will be advocating for our next one that we do more global, instead of just focusing on the sheriff's department like we did this time in the CERT.
I would support that, Greg. Just for information, some of you were here, some of you weren't. Norm's first year here, we were a very active part in the county emergency services deal. We met up at the airport a lot. We were included in the drills, and weren't assigned specific tasks, but had started discussing that. As I'll give you an example, one of the things that we said is, well, if there is a bad event and we've got fire hoses laid out across Central Avenue, as an example, hooked up to for whatever they may be doing, even filling up trucks to go dump, that the board members could be trained and assigned a task, for instance, monitoring one of the fire hydrants, or being at Central Avenue to help direct traffic. And so I think those are the kinds of things that I would like to see honed down in what Greg said, and not necessarily so much about us, but how we can fit into what we do. So.
Okay, I can comment a little bit about that. As far as like garden fire hydrants, directing traffic and everything, The McKinleyville CERT team has spent literally hours with professionals getting training on how exactly to do traffic control and things like that. Not only that, but when we're activated, we're also covered by the state's liability insurance.
And so Scott, correct me if I'm wrong, but if board members independently thought, wanted to pursue getting that training or that certification for that, they could go to the CERT directly, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're gonna have to be certified to be in traffic.
Thanks, Leslie.
Well, I was just one
Yeah.
example. I'm just
Yeah.
saying that emergency services is a more, you're part of that at CERT.
Yeah.
Okay, so how we're part of it, that's all. And I wasn't trying to be specific about that. That was just an example.
All right.
Right. Chamber of Commerce made a social media post the other day about CERT and about the sheriff's office and the joint meeting. And I made a big old sales pitch for CERT on her post, you know, kind of a recruitment thing. Please join. There's room for you and you can be of help. You know, anybody can join as an individual.
Right. Well, when something bad happens, Pat's gonna be right at the epicenter of what's going on in terms of our district. He's gonna be,
No, he's not. James is incident commander for MCSD.
oh, is he?
Yeah.
Okay, well, James, I apologize.
Is that still correct?
We've got an arrangement with is it the city of Blue Lake, or is it both the city of Blue Lake, or have they transferred on over to the tribe there who is doing that?
I don't know what arrangement you're talking about. We have arrangements with all sorts of folks.
No,
We have all
the
sorts of-
casino. Rancheria, the Blue Lake tribe, I mean, they're got a huge public
We had an agreement in the past with the Public Works Department in Blue Lake related
able to come over.
to be able to aid them in very limited ways. I don't know if that agreement is still in place or not. It's been a long time. So I don't know. I'd have to defer back to staff, but they'd come to us and while I was I can't remember if it was while I was operations director or general manager, we'd encourage them to have private contractors on call that they wouldn't be able to count on us because we'd be taking care of our own stuff.
All right, I'm gonna try to move this along. It's
Yeah.
8:15, so. No, just let's move. Community Forest Committee, you attended their meeting, I did not.
Yeah. So I guess I'll retract I'm gonna shut up. So anyway, we've talked about a lot of the stuff that we did. We had our typical, and if you read Kirsten's, Kirsten had good minutes for the meeting. And we talked about the MOU with the MBTT or whatever that is. What is it? MBTTA? Yeah, so I think that's all I've got to add to that. Kirsten, did you have anything else?
Another thing I did report out to the committee, that Rick from Eureka Natural Foods saw somewhere on the local news about our fundraising efforts for the fund and went ahead and contributed his additional 15,000. So
Yeah.
the fund is 27,000. Right?
Yeah, so if you see Rick around, make sure you thank him, you guys.
Okay.
Anyway, so thank you. Yeah, and we did discuss how we're going to move forward with fundraising and outreach to stakeholders in the community that might be willing to contribute to that. And that's all I have on that.
Okay,
May I make a suggestion, President?
quickly.
I would, when you guys think it's right, I would like us to invite Rick up and give him a little honorarium publicly about all what he's done for us. You know,
Okay.
however you want to think about working that out. I would like to do that.
Okay.
I don't know that that would be super well received based on my conversations with Rick in terms of he isn't giving to be publicly recognized. He does not want that.
I take that back then. Thank you for the
Mhm,
guidance.
Okay. Humboldt Municipal Water District.
Nothing to report.
Nothing to report, okay. Staff reports, legislative and regulatory reports, anything of concern?
Yeah, I've got something. So when Ryan was moving, he came across this, and it's from, I believe it's from the Mad River Union, but anyway, it's a new MCSD slogan, a new frontier in government. So, I just kind of wanted to bring this up. It was, here, you want to check it out? But anyway, it was, the first time that we had ever invited, a legislator up here, and it was Assemblyman, or Senator, was he Assemblyman or was he a senator at that time? Chesbro. I can't remember, but anyway, we invited him up, and it was the first time that we had ever had a legislator come up and meet with the board. We had a board meeting and took him out and showed him the site where the new tank's at. I'm going to give this to Joey so that, I don't know if we have an archive for stuff like this, and I doubt very much that I don't recall us taking this out, but I'll go ahead and give this to Joey.
Yeah, our senator then, Noreen Evans,
Yeah, it was Evans who never came. Yeah.
but her staff did, and Zooey came.
Yeah.
And anytime you want to get something done around here, you get Zooey.
Yeah.
On the
Gotcha.
job.
Yeah,
Gets
yeah.
it.
Yeah, he was, yeah. So anyway, I'm just gonna make sure Joey gets this in.
Cool.
Thanks. Thank you, Greg. Appreciate that.
That was my phrase.
Yeah, I know.
Anything else on legislative and regulatory matters? All right, let's,
A lot of communication with guys, nothing much. A lot of things topsy-turvy, so we're trying to keep all the doors open and all the channels open.
Okay.
See what happens.
right
The
on.
drone's on mine too.
Hmm?
The drone's on mine. That's the drone. It's the same.
Is he on there?
Yeah, he's there.
Oh. All right, Mr. Madrone or Councilman Madrone, have you been with us through all of this?
Yes,
And do you
I
have
have.
something to add?
Nothing to add. Thank you.
You're so patient, and I thank you for hanging with us.
Yeah, you're welcome. Hey, you might want to invite Senator McGuire to come and talk with you about the Prop 50 outcomes. I think he's going to be our new congressman, but I leave that to you guys.
Okay. Anything else that we should be aware of, thinking about? No. Thank you for being here with us.
Yeah, Mr. President and the board, can you still hear me?
Quite well.
Loud and
thank
clear.
you.
Great. Yeah, I might just suggest that, when you have your town center and your road diet talk, there are 4 or 5 different categories of things that you might want to consider, like the idea of looking at a broader circulation plan, safety measures for Central, Murray School. There's the multimodal report that was done that could be presented to you guys in regards to safety of circulation between Arcata and McKinleyville. There's the transit issues, where are we at on that? Microtransit is coming. So I would just suggest that you might want to consider, if you want to look at those broader issues of what the town center might be doing, et cetera. There are a number of different issues that could be discussed, but again, I leave that to your wisdom and judgment.
Can I make?
Thank you. Dennis, please.
All of those are items that I think are percolating here, but I would be very happy if you had a few bullet points like that you might ship on over to Joey and for us to consider.
I'd be happy to do that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Other questions or? David? No.
Staff reports.
Okay. Once again, thank you and appreciate you being with us through all of this. Let's move to staff reports.
Hi.
Start out with the finance and administration with
Definitely.
Samantha, please.
So I did just offer some brief highlights in my report, and I wanted to expand on that a little bit. So we did just finish our field work for the audit. The auditors were out the week of October 6th. This was my second full audit, and they said it was the best so far. So that's exciting. They were there for 2.5 days, left 2 days earlier than expected, followed up with the variance explanation analysis that they always do after field work. That's been completed and sent back to them. Met with them this morning. They intend to have our audited financial statements completed by the end of December to be presented to the Audit Finance Committee in January and then brought to the board in February. With that, we also are required to do the single audit, which there's a lot of work that goes into that on my end and getting it prepared for them. So they will be conducting the single audit in February, to be hopefully brought to the Audit and Finance Committee late February, to the board early March. Another big project that we are doing right now that I mentioned is developing a new software, or purchasing a new accounting software. This is going to be a 15 to 18 month multi-phase project, starting with our accounting programs, general ledger, utility billing, incorporating work service orders. With that, there's a ton of work that goes into it ahead of time, where I have to not only review and rewrite our fixed asset policy, but I also have to do an entire fixed asset audit internally. And that's going to incorporate not only operations staff, but park staff, to take complete stock of all of our infrastructure, inventory, tangible and intangible depreciable assets. So that's going to take a couple months to get done and prepared for implementation of the ERP software. And then, of course, there's always the data extraction that comes with that. And then budget season starts in February. So we are very, very busy in the front office. And you will see the ERP contract at the December board meeting.
So we are going to move forward with the procurement on that?
Yes, we have selected Tyler Technologies is the top of the 5 that we looked at. We narrowed it down to 3, got proposals and bids from them, and then Tyler was the one that suited the district the best. And they do have not only our accounting software, utility billing, everything for ops and fixed asset management. They do have a Parks and Rec that's not up to snuff for us yet, but they are developing that. And so in the future, it's potentially possible that Parks and Rec could fall under the same umbrella. They're
So we would need 2 separate softwares for Parks and Rec and for the operations.
that would make
Or-
me very happy.
That would be pretty
Yeah.
cool.
That's way down the pipeline
Yeah.
for sure.
And is there, did they have AI modules that go along with that too?
I
Was
think
that-
they're in development. They're not something that we looked at this
Okay.
time. So I know that we have internally that we need to develop an AI policy. That's a little bit beyond my intelligence. That's Joey over there for sure. But I do know Tyler Tech is looking at AI software, but it won't not incorporate with what we're doing right now.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
But it'd be nice if they do bring in a module that has AI on it, because that will be
I'm
very
sure they
useful
will.
for us.
Yeah, they are capable of far more than what we are even purchasing, and we are getting a pretty decent package with them. And they're always upgrading and buying new modules to add on and implement into their own software. So
Yeah, and those proprietary AI modules are much safer for our data too than if we use any of the open source AI, because all your information is basically anybody can get it once you put your information into AI, it's out there for everybody in the ethosphere.
Yeah, so Tyler Tech is the one we went with. We did, so City of Eureka is with Tyler Tech, as is the City of Fortuna. And I received references on, I believe it was 3 other special districts. We actually shadowed the City of Eureka. I had staff members go there and look at it in action, which that'll all be in my staff report for next month, of course. But yeah, they're definitely pretty great. So we're
Cool.
excited.
Yeah, you might want to, give yourself some, allot yourself some quiet time while you're doing the implementation of the new software, because you're probably going to need it.
It's going to be a big project for sure. Piggybacked on all of the normal things that we have to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Samantha. James, operations?
I have something to report. We did get a visit from the State Water Control Board, and they, on the 29th, they did a site visit of our wastewater treatment facility. Sabrina came for that, and she brought a new staff member, Monica, who lives in McKinleyville and has joined the force. They toured the treatment plant. They looked at certs. They looked at maintenance logs, testing spreadsheets. They also went to Fisher Ranch and looked at the irrigation sites along with the Coho project and discharge points. I'm proud to say she ended the meeting with saying our facilities and record keeping are always top notch. She said she had nothing negative to report, and asked if we would be willing to tour in 2027, because the 26 calendar's done, for their board to come into our treatment plant. So I said that would definitely be something we would be up to, because we're pretty proud of it. So that is my report on that.
Very cool.
Cool. So we're going to have a new regulator. Justin's no longer our guy.
He turned that to Sabrina. You don't have a Sabrina?
No, Justin's still doing, he must do the outfalls now or something.
Oh, yeah, we've had Sabrina for a while.
Okay.
He still oversees what she's doing, but
Mhm.
I deal with her.
Okay. Thanks, James. Kirsten, you want to add to the discussion?
Nothing further to add.
Thank you for all that you've given us tonight. Appreciate it. Pat, General Manager report, please.
Well, unfortunately, I have 2.5 pages that I wanted to talk about, but this board meeting has gone a lot longer than I thought it was. But there are some high points that I do need to touch on. So the office remodel is going to the regular planning commission meeting this Thursday. They need to do a general plan conformance on the office that has been there for 50 years to make sure it conforms to the general plan. But it's on the consent calendar. I'll listen in via Zoom, and hopefully it doesn't get pulled from the consent calendar.
So it is, but it is on this consent calendar.
Yeah. Arts in McKinleyville fundraiser for Boys and Girls Club is this Friday at 6:00 at the Teen Center Activity Center. That's their big fundraiser for the year. Kristen was up cooking 800,000 meatballs last night for it. So
800,000? Is
Yeah,
that
at
an
least.
exaggeration?
No. So if you don't have your ticket,
Buy
they
them at the
can-
door.
Yep, they'll sell you one at the door.
Do you still need any artwork?
Not for this year,
Okay, not for this
But-
year.
25.
At the door.
Yep.
Got the special board meeting next Monday. Hopefully you all have that on your calendar, with Assemblymember Rogers. Meeting at the Murray Road parking lot at 1:00. Joey will post the agenda here tomorrow. We've also sent that out to the McKinleyville Community Forest Committee, brought it up at the Forest Management Plan Subcommittee last night, and some of them are going to attend as well. Hopefully you can all attend that. Then his town hall meeting is at 3:00 here in Azalea Hall on Monday. Humboldt Bay board meeting, their regularly scheduled board meeting is next Thursday. They are presenting the water line to Trinidad Rancheria James and I sat in on a meeting last week with their general manager going through her presentation. She mainly wants to walk through all the steps and requirements with her board to let them know, what's next and the action items they need to do. Joey and I are gonna head over there and listen in to that, mainly to hear what the Humboldt Bay Board questions they have and answer any additional questions and see what the public has for questions. I also want to let you know about another Humboldt Bay project. They are putting in a new expansion joint on one of their tanks. They need to shut off water to us. And so we, of course, can provide water to everybody in McKinleyville from our tanks, but there's the Boyd Road area, the area between us and them, that would be out of water. James has come up with ingenious ideas to backfeed them. It was supposed to happen this upcoming Monday. We just heard from them right before this meeting that is not going to happen this upcoming Monday, but it is going to happen here soon. We, of course, will send out a public service announcement, but it really should only affect the Boyd Road area and maybe not even then, but we'll call those people and let them know.
Yeah, because there's quite a bit of water coming down that hill.
Yeah. But right now we're gonna have them shut off the valve up there and try to backfeed them to see if that works.
Yeah.
The other one thing that I really do want to talk to the board about is mention the April 2027 date for the Mad River Crossing project. That also applies to our Hewitt tanks, so the replacement of the Redwood tanks. That date is going to be the date that those have to be constructed by, as well as our Fisher Lift Station upgrade project. We are still waiting for phase 2 approval on both those projects. We've been told by Cal OES that phase 2 was imminent. The biggest impact that the federal government shutdown that has had on us is there's nobody working at FEMA these days. Cal OES has called them and nobody answers the phone, and the voicemail says, we'll get back to you when it opens back up. We need to get moving on those projects. So what I've cut, Kennedy Jenks is working on the tanks, the McCluskey tanks. What I've asked them to do is put together their contract for phase 2, and they need to move into full design and preparing the bid documents. So they're working on putting that contract together. Between phase 1 and phase 2, Cal OES will not reimburse us for anything. So until we get phase 2 approval, they won't reimburse those costs. However,
Even if we do a resolution of reimbursement for that,
Nope.
nope.
Yeah, it's explicitly states that they won't reimburse anything. But I'd much rather pay a few tens of thousands of dollars to Kennedy Jenks to finalize bid plans and then be able to apply for reimbursement for millions of dollars in the construction of those tanks at the back end. So we are going to move forward with that. When I get that contract in place, I'll bring it to the board. Same thing with the Fisher Lift Station. That is, GHD is working on that. They are pretty much ready with the bid documents. However, that project requires a bunch of equipment that has a year plus of lead time, all the motor control centers, the pumps, et cetera. So what we're having them do is go through and identify all of that equipment that has 6+ months of lead time. And then we likely are the district is gonna move forward on purchasing.
Pre-order it.
Yeah, that directly from the suppliers.
Is that domestic stuff or?
It depends on what it is. They're supposed to be talking to suppliers too, and coming up with that. GHD is supposed to be talking to suppliers, figure out lead times, figure out costs, et cetera.
Okay.
So that is likely going to be coming back to the board as well. Oh, I got a bunch of other stuff, but I'm going to leave it at that. Staff is extremely busy.
Could I piggyback back off of Pat's staff report?
Second, James.
Can I piggyback off of Pat's
Yeah.
staff report?
Yes, please.
I just want to, I guess, I got a bad feeling in my gut, so I want to speak, please. the things that Pat's mentioned, which is just a fraction of what we're doing. We're really extremely busy and it's fast paced. We're being as efficient as possible. But we are getting a lot done and we're multitasking in so many different areas. I guess the reason why I feel like I wanted to speak, because I've been writing bullet points down since Kyle got up and read a letter earlier, that I want to stress that there is, a lot in the reports that say things. Pat doesn't, Pat's does like to share his spotlight with staff. Pat is responsible for a lot more than Pat claims he is. For example, the cost savings, if you see the report on the cost savings to date, you notice Pat's cost savings aren't in there. And that would be a very extremely high number if it was in there. And again, focusing on what, Kyle got up to say earlier, we are very happy with Pat. Pat is a very hard worker. He is the definition of above and beyond. And he very well is focused on, employee health and their wellness and the appreciation and respect. And we truly, staff works hard to pay that respect back and help him shine. And I just wanted to say something because I know Kyle got up and read a letter and I just wanted to touch on that letter and also stress that, yes, their words, we're busy, we're doing this, but we are really, really busy and we're getting a lot done. And a lot of this is coming from grants and a lot of these grants are coming from the knowledge and expertise that Pat brings to the table. And yes, do we bite off more than we chew sometimes? Sure, but we owe it to the ratepayers to try to get what we can get. And I'm one that, if you ask me, I'm always say, yeah, I'm good. I got this. We're good. Sure. Am I lying sometimes? Sure. Like we're just busy but we want to get these things done. We want to tackle them and we want to pave the road for like the next people and leave the district in a really good position. And we're doing that and we're doing that really well. So I just wanted to stress that. Thank you.
I enjoy hearing this. And I want to thank you for, giving us a very positive way to bring this meeting to a close, I guess.
Well, how about board member comments, announcements?
Yeah, board member, the president's report, I'm not going to pass on that. Board member comments, announcements, reports, and agenda item requests.
Yeah, I had a question about when the succession schedule for the board of directors for the chair and when do we usually take care of that?
It's currently scheduled out through 2028.
Okay.
So that cycle will happen at the beginning of the year.
Okay. Thank you. Just a question. I couldn't remember when we used to do it. It's been a long time since I had anything to do with that.
Anything else from?
Yeah, I got one. I just wanted to remind the board and staff that Director Mayor and I will be down in San Diego on the date of the December meeting, so we may or may not be in attendance.
Okay.
Going down to Rockville. Well, okay.
We need,
that works.
Gotta warn Joey.
If the interweb cooperates.
Yeah, if we could get all the board members here on time, we could do it with 3 members, but
I had a Swiss cheese brain.
I'll move to adjourn the meeting.
does not require a second or a vote. Meeting adjourned.